To start making all of the icons, I first get out all the colors I'm going to need. But since I don't need all of them right now, I start by combining a bunch of blues together to make the main blue color for the 7th icon that I'm going to be making overall. I then turn that blue into a cube around the same shape as all of the other ones that I've made. And then I thin out the very bottom of that cube and make it slightly smaller than the rest of the cube. After that, I combine some greens together in order to make a green. Then, once that green is made, I make it into a little worm and I place it on the top center part of the front. After that, it's done. And now, on to the second one. For that, I combine together some purples in order to make a purple. And then I combine some orange and a small amount of yellow together in order to make the orange. These colors can be replaced with any other colors, as these are just Geometry Dash icons, but the processes would be the same if you would want to make these for some reason. With the orange, I turn it into a thicker worm, and then I cut it into 4 angles, the 4 sides of the cube, which are just little, I don't know. After those are all made, I make 1 large sphere and 4 smaller ones. These all get rolled up into balls and placed on the edges of the orange pieces. These orange pieces get squished so that they're not too large, and then the large dot is placed in the center. And with that one is done. Starting on icon 9, I combine some pinks and reds in order to make a pinkish red. And then I make half of a cube, like a slab in Minecraft. After that, I make 3 thick worms that are roughly the same size, and I attach them to the bottom part of the half cube. These then get blended into the top cube part and then squished to the proper shape. Once the main body is formed together, I shape it to make sure that the bottom parts are actually different. And then I get the original blue from the first icon and I place it in a worm on the top part of the icon, horizontally this time. On the next icon, I combine together some blues and greens in order to make a teal. Then, with that teal, I cut it into 2 separate shapes, with the top shape being a larger cube-like shape with a giant round hole on the bottom, and the bottom shape being just that hole with little edges. That bottom piece and top piece get placed together in order to make them one piece. Then I make a light pink that then gets placed as 2 dots on the eyes. Once these eyes are placed on there and flattens, it's on to the next icon. This icon is made with lime green and mostly lime green. This lime green color gets a chunk taken out of it and then flattened into a sphere that gets flattened on the bottom part. The bottom of it gets stretched out and elongated into the two teeth of the skull shape, and then smoothed out until they are two cylinders. After that, I get some blues and dark blues in order to make a grayish blue, a darker blue, that then the two eyes get placed onto. One of the eyes on the skull is larger than the other one. The eye on the right side is larger than the one on the left side. So I made sure to make it that way. And after that, it is on to the fifth icon for today, which starts with some yellow and... Wait, this is the sixth one, which means we're on our last icon. Specifically icon. So, to start, I get the yellow that I've made and I turn it into a cube. And then I poke in all of the indents for two eyes and a mouth, because that's what I thought this one kind of would be like. These eyes are angled and the mouth has spikes. But then once the eyes are carved in, I place in dark green clay into all of the indents. And I cut it to the proper size so that the eyes are that color and not the entire face. Then I placed a worm of the green clay into the mouth, flattened it out, and made that the color of the mouth. Once that was done, I continued to indent it to make sure that it was all good. And then it was done. And the last icon for today. But I didn't want to just make icons this time. I wanted to make a plane. So I got some green and some blue, and I made a plane. I made a thick flattened worm as the base of it, cut that into 3 separate parts, and then made a very flat square, which still has a good thickness for the part of the plane that goes under the actual cube itself. Then on the front portion, I got a slightly cone-shaped front, and then I just made another cone-shaped piece, but this time I flattened the front part even further so that it was so that it could be attached to the backside of the rocket. After that, I made a little worm and cut it to the proper size and made that the rocket the engine thingy on the end of the rocket. Once the main body of the rocket was done, I still had to place on the blue parts. Behind the icon itself is a larger piece of blue that is attached to the plane, and it's more like a seat. After that, a thicker blue worm is placed around the rest of the cube and blended into the other blue section. Once that blue part is blended in, it's almost over, but I did also make sure to flatten out all of the worm to make sure that the piece would fit consistently. And after that, it was finished, and everything is over, and it gets baked.